You're listening to Super Power Up with multidimensional master, superpower expert, and former counterintelligence agent, Tonya Dawn Recla. If you're ready to disrupt reality, then sit down, strap in, and prepare to experience the show that proves there is no spoon.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Recla, your superpower expert, and today's show is all about effective transparency and practical steps. This is the culmination show from the last couple, which was a series of shows I did with Wendy Perrotti, the host of our show, A Glimpse Inside, about the battle between privacy and transparency. In those episodes, we dug deep, we went really high, we kind of exposed this whole complex conversation, and it can be frustrating for people as they feel like there is no balance, like there's no solution, there's no, how do you know how much privacy is necessary, and how do you know how much transparency is necessary? I know, given our background in counter intel and the risk mitigation sector, we get a lot of questions about, how do you protect yourself? How do you keep your stuff safe and private and secure? And then over on the other side of the house, everyone's about transparency and growth and expansion and walking towards oneness and recognizing the energetic entanglement. So you can see that it runs like a total gamut there. And we still have to live here, right? We still have to figure out how we're going to interact with each other and what we're going to share and how much we want to share, and then what's responsible to share, what's not responsible to share, what's irresponsible if we don't share it, right? If we keep it quiet, if we bottle it up. And so today's show is all around how do you kind of dig through those really, really, really big containers we fleshed out in the last couple episodes and figure out how do we operate here? How do we continue to engage and continue to learn and grow and play here, all while attending to the balance, if you will? So the balance instead of the battle. Is it possible that both offer us something of value? And of course, I contend that it is. And so we're going to come right back after the break and dive into some practical steps that you can deploy in your own existence, whether you're walking the world as an individual, just wanting to kind of grow yourself and pursue your own hero's journey, whether you've culminated some of that and you're moving into how do you be of service in the world in a way that's in alignment with your own divinity. We've got steps for all kinds of stages within there. So stay with us, folks. And if you're here with us for the first time, then welcome. You find out more about us at superpowerexperts.com. There we have superpower programs if you're wanting to train in some higher end concepts. And we also have the whole network of shows on our Superpower Up network. So be sure to check it out. You can download the app at superpowernet.com to get all of your shows streaming in your pocket. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Recla, Executive Director of Superpower Experts, and we want to thank each of you for making Superpower Up the #1 podcast network for personal development and spiritual growth. Because people like you have the courage to say that mindfulness, healthy living, disrupting reality, the pursuit of consciousness, responsible entrepreneurship, and radical parenting matter. We now amass over 1 million downloads monthly in more than 90 countries. Our numbers keep growing because there are far more people willing to live divergently than mass media wants to acknowledge. For you, the change makers, the light bearers, the way showers, we say thank you. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz. And as Neva Lee Recla, our youngest podcaster, likes to remind us, remember, we all have superpowers and we can change the world. Hello, we're back. This is Tonya Dawn Recla. You're listening to Disrupt Reality. Today we're talking about effective transparency and practical steps. The last couple episodes, Wendy Perrotti and I dove really deeply into these concepts of privacy and how do we kind of maintain privacy in a social media world. And in the second episode, we looked at the transparency component, like how much is too much. And if you are a practitioner who guides other people, a coach, a consultant, that type of thing, I know that it's easy to fall into that trap of maybe using social media to vent, but under the guise of, I'm just being transparent with my stuff. And so a practical way to kind of feel around in that space is are you feeling complete with it, right? Usually when it feels like I have to get this out, sometimes it's better to kind of write off to the side, maybe with an actual paper and a pen, or instead open up a notes or a Google Doc or something if you really feel the need to type it. Do that, express that in that way, and then let it sit for a minute, right? If we're quiet and we lean in, then spirit will always give us affirmation or course correction. But when we can't tell the difference between an impulse and an intuitive hit, when we create space and take a pause, that makes it really easy to start feeling around in there and allow spirit time to say, maybe we don't want to post this for the world to see. And it's okay to do both, right? It's okay to want to get everything out there, or let's say it's a, post and someone tagged you in it or they didn't, and it's just in your thread and you're like, I really need to step in here and say this. I really need to reply, or somebody says something maybe not too nice to you. This is a great technique to create space. I think in this social media kind of world that we live in, everything needs to be instantaneous. Like you have to be the one to like get in there before someone else does. And it really does not lend itself well to following an intuitive existence or one where the divine can communicate with you. And so taking that pause and just relaxing, and you'll find the energy around it really does shift. Allow yourself to not think about it for a little bit and to maybe focus on other things. Even better, sleep on it. Give yourself a couple days if you can. If it really has to be addressed more rapidly, then make sure that you're creating the right container and taking a moment to pause and maybe doing a little meditation or a prayer, whatever it is that allows you to tie in and and handle it in that fashion before you make that decision of firing off a response or putting that out into the world. And the same is true for when you're synthesizing your own growth, right? Taking the time to write it out, or to maybe do an audio or a video clip, and then just letting it sit for a little bit and get really solid in the energy and the vibration in which you want to release that out to the world. Those pauses are very, very powerful. And even if in that moment it feels like you have to do it right then and you have to get it out, and a lot of times we'll fool ourselves and be like, no, really, it's an intuitive hit, or my guides are telling me to do it, or God's speaking to me, whatever it is. We've got some frisky little pieces there that'll use whatever they think they can use to motivate us in the direction they want us to go. But when we're quiet and we take a pause and we're still, we can really tell the difference between that amped up, triggered energy versus the activated, expansive energy that we feel from spirit. So that's a really easy way to start making change if you are sitting on that fence of not knowing what to share and how to share it. Now, with regard to privacy, that's such an individual and personal dialogue and trip there. I know for Justin and I, it took many different turns along the various phases of our journey, coming out of the government, military, counterintel space, where we did have to keep secrets. It was weird to enter into a world of so much transparency. It took a long time for us to detach all of that and be able to see clearly through it. And over time, we kind of adopted this idea that we could spend all of our time worrying about our privacy settings and safeguarding everything and all of that good stuff, or we could instead take that responsibility up a few levels higher and be really clear about how we wanted to use certain tools that were available to us. And we have a real multifaceted, multidimensional approach to how we handle privacy. And a lot of it is from the evolutionary journey. We can't take any of these safeguards with us. These measures that we lean on impede eventually at the higher frequencies. They impede on our relationship with the divine, and they too will be called into question. So the more that you can turn over and find your safety and security and foundation of that sense of support internally with the divine, the better off you're going to be. The more we put our trust in external factors that are created in the construct, the more we have to unpack later. Sometimes we use those as a segue, which is fine. If you need to kind of do a process with some of this stuff and disentangle where you find your peace and security, then that's what you're going to have to do. I mean, in 2007, I wrote a book called WAR, Watch, Assess, React, the ultimate guide to personal power and safety. And so that's what I was processing through then, right? That's what I was coming on the tail end of and beginning to teach and train in the world. And it's very different than where I sit now. And my advice would have been very different then than it would be now. What I'm able to access and know is very different now than it was then. And so allow yourself to be fluid and flexible along the journey. If you're on your own personal path and you're not sure if it's, you're just dissatisfied, you're just unhappy with things, or you kind of get this sense that there's more, but you don't know what more is. And maybe on this show and others on our network, we talk about some weird kind of out there things, and you're not really sure that that's where you want to take this, but something's kind of urging you to expand. Understand that that's a totally okay place for you to be sitting. And it's okay to kind of straddle those worlds for a while. Most people do. And you're going to weave those together in your own unique way. Some have more of the practical than the mystical. Some have a lot more of the mystical than the practical, but we all have to have all of that. And so don't judge yourself based on what you're seeing or hearing or perceiving or assuming from what you're seeing from maybe spiritual communities that you're starting to become familiar with, or personal development kind of ideologies. Just take it all in, follow your curiosity, and know that we're happy to help support you wherever you're coming in from through our superpower programs. If that feels like something you would like a little hand holding with, you can check those out at superpowerexperts.com. Just go to Superpower Programs tab. That is all we have today, folks. So take some time between now and our next little session here together and really be cognizant and intentional about how you're perceiving of things like transparency and what you're sharing and why you're sharing it. Start feeling into if you've checked in with your higher self before, firing off that email or sending off that text message. What energy are you sending with it? And sometimes it can be hard to admit that maybe we're not coming from our highest or from love. Take a pause, and you'll be able to hear the whispers of your intuition so much more clearly. We appreciate your loyalty, and we appreciate you telling your friends about us. And until next time, go out, everybody, uncover your superpowers, and change the world. Bye for now.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the superpower quiz today.